Good evening, wool gatherers, and welcome to episode 132 of Wanderings and Wool Gathering. On tonight's episode, we are reviewing the latest record from Dermot Kennedy called Sonder, and we're going to talk about our first music catalogs that we actually sought, went after, had to get all of that goodness. And then at the end, we're going to talk about Sandman issue 22 as we work our way through the entire series. So it's going to be a great night tonight. The episode's brought to you by 4411 Creative Agency. The good folks at 4411 provide custom marketing and flawless execution. Creative is their middle name. Head over to 4411creative.com to find out more. And we also have a second sponsor, which is the Kokomo Lantern. Great people to work with. They are a journalistic endeavor focused on the simple principles of eliminating. Sorry, we don't eliminate the good. We want to illuminate the good and eliminate the shadows in our local community. So head over to kokomolantern.substack.com so you can get all of that good information. And joining me tonight is none other than the Metalhead himself, Metalhead Mundy.
Step inside into his mind. It's boy band time. It's
Metalhead Mundy.
Do you feel like we're stepping inside your mind? Do you feel that?
Okay. Well, it appears that I've lost audio again. So.
No, we hear you.
So I'll dip out and come back.
All right.
Introduce Tony.
Now you ruined it. You ruined the whole introduction. Here we go. Joining us also is none other than Earl Grey himself, T-Bags.
Swinging deep into the valleys of Liptonia.
That's nasty.
Able to plunge from high altitudes only to land with a gentle splat.
That's nasty.
Receiving only the finest education from his instructor, Earl Grey. It's T-Bags. Too hot for TV.
Hello there.
Isn't that great?
It's the best. Even if it wasn't my theme song, I would still say it's the best.
I don't know. I might have to go with the Joe Rife theme song.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
They're
all good.
Joe Rife sucks. He won't come on the show so I can listen to it.
We'll get him back on.
Yeah. Monday and I were talking. We actually don't want you on the show. We just want the theme song. So you can go now.
Okay.
Get off our screen.
I feel loved.
All right. Welcome, gentlemen, to another fun night of challenge and review. I'm just curious, too. I wonder how many of our listeners are fans of Dermot Kennedy, or maybe if they even know who he is.
Was not a name that I was familiar with until we did the first album.
We have a comment that's been posted on the screen. Facebook user says, I love that T-Bags giggles at his own song every single time.
How can you not?
I know. Yeah, we do too.
I'm just an 18-year-old boy in my mind, so you say T-Bags, I'm going to laugh.
I would have said 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Well, some things are just great. And all the theme songs on this show are great, so I'm happy to have those. Eventually, we're going to have to get new ones. We'll wear those out, but 132 issues in, or episodes in, and I think we're still fresh.
Yeah.
So, all right, gentlemen. Anything new to mention before we jump right in with the challenge?
Well, you know I got something.
Well, go for it.
Is that Lacey?
I don't think so. She's at work, so.
Oh my! That better not be my wife.
So yeah, we got a nice little present today for us metalheads, especially. Metallica dropped a new song. Called Lux Eterna, and I like it a lot.
I concur.
Yeah, it's pretty thrashy, kind of old school sound. I've said a couple times, like if the production was a little shittier, it would be Right at Home on Kill 'Em All. If it didn't sound so modern and polished. There's a definite Motorhead influence, which I mean they've never denied that. That's one of their favorite bands, but man, you can hear it on this one. That drum beat is straight up lifted from Overkill by Motorhead. Yes, and also in the same song Overkill from Motorhead, they do like 3 or 4 kind of false endings, and then it comes back in with the drum beat with the double bass and all that, and they do exactly that in this song, but they only do it once.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and the riff and everything, I mean, there's a bunch of Motorhead going on in this song. I love it.
Yeah, it's a ripper for sure, and it, like you said, it definitely is a throwback, but it's definitely polished in a very modern way. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. A lot of speed, and I can't wait to see what the album's all about. This one comes in at a short 3.5 minutes, so you guys need to check it out. It is good, and the album comes out, I think, in April.
Yeah,
April 14th or something. So we will definitely be reviewing that.
I almost forgot. Like James sounds amazing on this song.
Yeah.
It's on point. Sounds so good.
Yep, he is fantastic. So, and then we'll probably talk about live shows too, because at some point we might want to go do the show on the road. What do y'all think?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. That's a bigger show than I usually would like to go to. Plus, how much is it going to cost? Woof.
It should be cheaper since it's in a stadium. You get more people, you would think, but who knows?
We can charge it to the corporate credit card. So we're good.
Shh. Oh, we're live. Way to go, Tony. You just blew the whole plan.
Off, can't we?
Or we
can write it off.
Yeah. Mental health.
Metal
with
health.
you.
Yeah.
But gosh, I got to get over there so I can hit that for us.
I know. I thought you were going to move closer to your drums last
I
time.
was. Maybe I need a stand to put this on a stand. So I'll break something, but it's all right. So, all right, well, let's get to the challenge. This was issued by Metalhead Mundy, so take it away.
Pretty simple. Basically, it's just, we're all lifelong music fans, and I'm sure all 3 of us have been listening to music since before we even knew what the names of bands and stuff were. So basically, I wanted to know the first band or solo artist, singer, whatever, the first artist where you actually fell in love with so much that you then had to go back and find everything they've done, like their entire catalog. You had to have it all because you just loved them that much.
Good challenge.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go first because Jeremy was rude to me and said I couldn't say Rush, so that's fine. But no, that's fine.
That's not what I said. I said if you were going to choose Rush, I wouldn't do the challenge.
See, he's a jerk. You guys heard it here first, people. No, but actually, I wouldn't have chosen that one anyway because when I got in, I mean, there were a few albums that came before, but there was so much afterwards. I just kept following along. So, actually, T-Bags, I'm going to defer to you because I forgot my charger, and this is going to die if I don't grab it quickly.
Okay.
You're on. Go.
This is his way of getting out of hearing my answer. Ironically, since we were talking about Metallica, that was going to be my first thing because Metallica kind of broke me out of the just radio listening stuff, but there wasn't a lot still there. So, oops. So I went with Pink Floyd, and that was an interesting journey because Pink Floyd, I think The Wall or Dark Side of the Moon is kind of mostly how people come into Pink Floyd, right? So, but then you expect that everything's going to sound similar because why not? Most bands do that. And you go all the way back and I can't even hardly listen to the first album of Pink Floyd. It's just so different. And it's experimental, but very much like people finding their footing and not even the same people that you're used to listening to. So, but then moving past that, little by little, you start to see, songs popping up like Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun and Echoes and things that are, different than the mainstream and starting to come into their own. And then obviously then you get into the 70s style, the 70s of their catalog. And that's where it's really happening for most people. But I did go back and appreciate some of the other stuff, but there was such a large catalog to tackle. But it was funny because I was so excited and then I was disappointed. And then I went back, started to climb back into it, and they ended up being my favorite band of all time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. I did pick up the end of that, so that's nice. That's not who I picked, so.
Yeah. And my runner-up was The Doors. Just, I'm not going to talk
Okay.
about it, but that was another one.
Okay. So, I could have picked a number of them, I suppose. Groups that late 70s and then all through the 80s we really loved, like, Zeppelin. We dug back into that catalog. Your Pink Floyd, same thing. But I chose The Doors. And I don't know, not all of us loved them, but there was a small group of us that really loved them. And so we dug back in and we went into every record. We struggled and then loved The Soft Parade because it was such an odd album. It was one of those, if you look back now, it feels like it should have come at the end. And then he goes off to Paris, But Morrison Hotel and LA Woman came out after that, which is so strange because it feels like such an odd record in the middle. But, we fell in love with that. And we started reading more. So No One Here Gets Out Alive. I don't know if you've read that biography. It was so good. We passed it around. Story of his life. We all really dug that. We got his poetry books.
Yes.
And those were super cool.
I have
A friend of mine lost it. What's that?
I have one of those.
Oh, do you? They're odd. I don't even know if there's a lot to make out of them a lot of times because his mind was so out there, but
And I
they were
have
still cool.
His spoken word album.
Mhm.
I have that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then I know, of course, I think probably where most of us got into it was probably from Apocalypse Now with the end being played there. That was a big one. It was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Who would have thought, And then because that came out, was that 79 or 80?
Before my time. So
Yeah, you young buck. But yeah, so that's one that we really dug in, and it's just kind of funny now thinking about it. Like, how did we do it? I mean, you could go to record stores and look, but if they weren't there, you were kind of SOL. You get some books, that maybe had that information in there. But man, I really think back now, and we must have been pretty clever dudes to figure all that out and get these back, albums and all that kind of stuff.
I think
in the day we grew up.
You kind of split it up. Like somebody else would get one, and then you would tape it or borrow it. Like the very slowest version of Napster ever. Like trying to tape something. But I mean, you couldn't afford to just go get the catalog, right? So sometimes it was like a team effort, which I think kind of, you guys can correct me if this wasn't for you guys, but I remember a lot of times sitting around with friends just listening to music, like sitting in the same room.
Oh yeah.
And somebody bring a tape over. So
the question is, was Michael Jackson not galvanizing to any of you? I feel like his best and biggest things were your time. And I'm saying for me, probably you too, we grew up with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
We didn't have to go back.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, because he only had one record out before Thriller on his own, right?
I think, was it Blood on the Dance Floor? Or what was the one?
Let
me look it up.
Was it self-titled?
I'm
No, what
looking
was
it up.
I thought there was just one solo record before Thriller and
Off the Wall.
Off the Wall. Yeah. So
Yeah.
but we didn't really have to go back unless you wanted to go back to Jackson 5, because when that stuff got super popular, we all just listened.
Right.
So
Michael Jackson was not I don't know. I mean, at first it was just the radio and Thriller. Like at first I didn't go back really when I was a kid either.
I liked him a lot. I mean, but like you said, it's like there wasn't a catalog per se to go back to.
I think Thriller was that like 83. So that was
Definitely
I
early
mean,
80s.
I was like 6-7 years old, so that was before I was like a collector or whatever.
Okay, we'll answer this. We're gonna let Metalhead give his, and then we will all answer this question. You guys can think about it for a second. What was your favorite cassette tape played in your car as a youth? My first one was an 8-track, and it was Bootsy Collins. So I'll think of another one because that was an 8-track.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the first, honestly, like the first artist that came to mind when I thought of this challenge was the Fat Boys. But when I started looking at them, they only have albums out. They only had a couple out when I started.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I was in about probably 6th grade, I really started getting into heavier stuff, and Ozzy was he was it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And like when I was in 6th grade, so that would have been like 80, let's see, 80, 88, 89.
Mhm.
So that would have been No Rest for the Wicked, which is Zakk Wylde's first album. And I just went backwards from there, and all of his catalog up to that point, and then Sabbath and all of it. I was in love.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, we got Scorps from
Scorp.
Facebook user.
Nice.
The Scorps. Okay, so to answer that last question, fellers,
Mhm.
now I can say for me, my first cars did not have cassette players in them because they were, I think my first one was like a 1979 Delta 88. After I had a Chevette that I wrecked, then I had a Delta 88, and it had thermostat for the air, which was ahead of its time, but I'm pretty sure it was just a radio. So I didn't even have a cassette player in my car in high school, unless I took my boombox with me.
Yeah.
Filled up with 8D batteries, so it weighed about 80 pounds.
I got my license like in the 89-90 in the 89-90, and I had just got like I don't know what they were called back then, but it was like Down In It by Nine Inch Nails was what would they send ahead of time before they'd send anything? And they'd like just send a song to like the radio or to the stores.
Like a single?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was like it was a store only type demo thing. And I remember getting that and not liking Nine Inch Nails. It sounded like a weird version of rap from Down In It. I really wasn't into it at the moment. And then Pretty Hate Machine came out right shortly thereafter. And so that was the one that was like stuck in my tape deck forever.
Gotcha. Literally stuck in your thing. No,
Yeah, after a couple of Indiana summers,
it
that thing wasn't
melted.
coming out. Yeah.
Mundy, you probably grew up in a time when you had a cassette in yours.
Oh yeah. My first car was a Chevette as well. But yeah, so gosh, when I got my own car, I would say probably one of my favorite cassettes that sounded great in the car and that we listened to a ton was White Zombies. It wasn't their first album, it was their first big album where everybody knew them.
Mhm.
La Sexorcisto, Devil Music, had Thunder Kiss 65 and Black Sunshine and all that stuff. Man, I pulled that thing out.
I haven't listened to that forever. Now I got to go back and listen to that.
So good.
Yeah.
It is that album specifically. The second one, Astro Creep 2000 as well, but La Sexorcisto specifically, it is just. I mean, they were riff machines. There's so many great guitar riffs.
Yeah.
We just saw Rob a few months ago at Clips or whatever it's called now, and he's still got it. They sounded great. It was a really fun show.
I kind of feel like some of these questions are like ways to steal our bank account. Like, what was your first car? Who's your favorite band?
Yeah.
So we gotta be careful here.
What's your driver's license number?
Yeah.
And while you're at it, your Soch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all three of our choices for catalogs. I'm glad we didn't double up. Sometimes we do that, so that was good.
Yeah.
The challenge next week is to be given by T-Bags. T-Bags, what's the challenge next week? I like how I did
Yeah.
that.
My notebook fell off the table. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Challenge accepted later this week.
Yes, I will give one.
until then, we are going to jump into Dermot Kennedy. I'm sorry, Dermot. Sorry, we have a fanboy on the show, so I'm just messing with it. But Dermot Kennedy's new record called Sonder. I'm going to let T-Bags give us a little lead in, and then we'll jump in.
Okay. Well, Sonder comes from the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, which if you guys have never checked out that site or their newly printed actual dictionary, you should. But Sonder means the realization that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own. So I don't know, on Apple Music, did they have, I know on Spotify they had like a little thing up for a while where Dermot talked about the album when it was released.
Yeah, they have there's a thing below there. At the top that talks about the album. You're right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, just I believe he's from Dublin, great Irish singer. He's kind of like, he went from busking to kind of, stardom pretty quickly within a matter of, 4 or 5 years. So, and I'm I'm sure everybody guessed I'm the fanboy for this one, but I just love him, man. I think he's got like a hip hop background that's weird for the style of music that he plays. And lyrically, I think he's great. And I'm a sucker for kind of romantic lyrics. So
that's the sweet spot on this record.
Yeah, there's my lead in.
Yeah. This is definitely a relationships, an album about love and all of its different facets, I suppose you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump in. Is Any Love a good album opener? Monty, what do you think?
I really like the melody. That caught my ear right away. I don't love the vocal effects. I don't know. I think that kills the opening track for me. Like I think that would have maybe been served a little better deeper in the album. I don't know if that's a great opener. And I just kept waiting for the beat to drop.
Still waiting.
Yeah. I liked this song. I don't think it was maybe a great album opener, but I thought there was really nice production on this one. There was it was almost like there were little stops and some soft moments in his cadence as he went through the song. So I don't think I love it as an album opener, but I did like the song. And I think he is developing as a musician. I always liked his vocals, but I think this is one of those where he's starting to grow in his musicianship, I think, or production of the music.
Yeah, I would say the production side. I mean, for me being a fan, like that type of style of synthesized vocal chorusy effect thing has kind of been buried in a lot of songs. And so for me personally, it was like kind of a change up from how he does things to just kind of put it forward and drop music back out into the background. So I liked it as an album opener, but you'd be hard pressed to have me not like anything he started with. So, take it for what it's worth. He could have probably done like a 3 Blind Mice opener and I'd be okay with it.
I'm going to see if he'll do that.
Why
I'm
not?
going to start sending him messages. Let's just start getting this going and see if we can crowdfund it.
Yeah. He'd write something about finding love, even as 3 Blind Mice,
Oh my gosh. Okay. So the next one is, this one was was this the first one released? Something to Someone months ago?
I think it was. I know I heard this a couple months ago.
I thought Kiss Me came before it, but I could be wrong. But go ahead.
It could be. This is the one I remember that was released. And this one has all the elements of a radio friendly grab ya. This is what the album is about kind of song.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in many ways, like when he says there's lessons in love, sometimes the heart is but a winding road. So the story goes, that is the album essentially to me. They're all lessons in love, lessons about life. All of this album kind of winds through this story of love. So I think this is almost the album opener in respect to the theme of the album, but it's a good one. This is a great song.
I agree with that. I think this would have been a better album opener. yes, it definitely establishes the theme for what we're going to hear after this.
Yeah, I would have, as far as album openers go, I had a note for Kiss Me about how it kind of sounds very similar to Something to Someone.
Mhm.
You kind of transition. So it would have maybe been nice just in that way to break it up. But I'm kind of biased because Steve, you saw it, but we recently put on a play. Our company put on a play that was
Mhm.
kind of like a immersive, kind of made you think type play. And we ended it with when the main actor died, and he was being carted off. We played this song with a video montage. And so like, yeah, I mean that whole like Something to Someone, like such a universal feeling, and then it kind of hits home a little bit when you're like saying something to you, and there's somebody specifically that saw you when you were together that made a difference.
Yeah. We always say when we would deal with people in education,
Mhm.
like everyone is somebody's someone. Like you may be super mad at this kid, but he is super special to some parent, so you have to keep that in mind when you're dealing with people, so you treat them the way that you would want your children to be treated.
That's cool.
So I kind of like
Mhm.
that. Something to Someone.
Yep.
So we all agree. Good song. Okay.
Mhm.
Next up is Kiss Me, which you just alluded to.
Mhm.
And I do agree that this one's similar, but you're not going to like me here because for me, this seems like if I didn't know the substance that he has, this would be like a pop throwaway song for me.
Oh, okay.
So,
You're right. I hate you.
I knew it.
No, just
That's
kidding.
it. I'm removing you.
I would kind of have to second that as well. I too felt like it was similar to the song right before it, and they maybe could have broken it up with the track listing or something, but yeah, it's just kind of meh for me. Like I didn't hate it, but I don't think it's as good as Something to Someone.
Okay, well, hear me out here, because I feel like why it was put together is like in Something to Someone he talks about forever was a lie, and in Kiss Me he's basically saying like there's an iteration of us that will never die. So I think it's a compliment. It complements that song in the way that like it does give you some hope that there's always something that someone can't take away from you. But I do agree it's very radio friendly, poppy, and you're gonna hear this in Starbucks when you're getting your coffee.
That's it. That's why. See, Tony, you get us. So, but be honest, if you were going to rate this, would this make your top 3 or 4 on the record?
It actually is in my top 3, I think, of the record.
Get out.
I'm
Isn't that funny that we could all 3 we're so similar about our music, but then we just are so different about that one.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I'm liking it in a sense of like seeing it as a piece in this whole collection of songs.
Mhm.
So honestly, if I had to remove it, it might drop down.
Okay. But we look at them as albums, so it makes sense that it fits there. Okay, good. The next one is Dreamer, and I kind of dug this song. There was some weird instrumentation going on here that I thought was really cool. At first, I thought one was a clarinet, and then there was a weird sound that came in. And at first, I thought, is he doing that with his voice? And then it came in later, and it was too clean and clear and neat. But that's where I feel like he's really grown to like take that step and add something that cool to a song. So I did like the song overall, but those extra instruments and those little breaks were, I thought, really cool.
Is this the one that does it start out with? I mean, it's just basically vocals and piano, and it kind of builds on that.
Yeah, and then it has that weird. I don't even know how to describe the sound. I wish we could play it, but they would kick us off for copyright.
Right.
But am I right though? Like it started out real simple with just him and piano, and then it kind of built from there.
Well,
Yeah, but the other song, the next song did too. But
Yeah,
this
it
one was
did.
this one was like a low piano.
Maybe, I don't know, but
Yeah.
the only thing I wrote down for this one was I like the piano. So other than that, this one didn't really hit me. So
Yeah. I agree, Steve. I think it was definitely instrumentally different. I mean, in the way that it was arranged, I guess too. I'm just gonna say I like every song, so this is.
It's okay. You can.
I won't keep saying it. Yeah. Yeah, I was super excited to have a new album by him, and it didn't disappoint me.
But T-Bags, why did you like this song?
Well, I mean, I'm a sucker for piano too. So when it starts like that, and then throwing in some of those weird things, and then lines like "Told me you were mine, already knew I was yours." So isn't that worth something? Like, I, you know, I think those are cool.
Okay, you're allowed to. Just this once. The next one, I think, is one of the most clever themes songs on here, the innocence and sadness, because I think as we get older, we kind of realize that there was a joy in our innocence as kids, and there's that line of crossing it, and the sadness that comes with, oh my God, this world sucks, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
So I really dug this, and again, the piano was nice, very cool song, and just thematically, one of the strongest for me.
Yeah, I like the. He had some good lyrical turns in this one. I got a little snarky. It's called Innocence and Sadness. I said I feel like this title describes all of his songs. But
That's fair. I really liked the line, people spend their life heads down, souls hidden. And I think, if you are going to go to the sadness thing, that is kind of sad if you think about it, how many times we try to kind of like shield what the things that really matter to us. We just kind of blend in. So,
yeah. Do you like this one a lot, Tony? Or just,
Let me check my notes. Yeah.
Oh Lord. All right. So the next one, Divide, I didn't have much on this one. It didn't do a whole lot for me.
Same.
Okay, don't fall over. But my note literally says, I like it, but it doesn't hit me the same as other songs. This one is more of a background music song for me. So
kind of middle of the album filler song.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That is a bummer when that happens. It's almost just like remove it. And you got
Happens
yourself
all the time, though.
It does. It really does. The next one, Homeward. I like this one. It's about nostalgia, which is cool. If this whole town slowed down, would you ever come back? Could you get back to that place, that sweet spot in your life, that the rose-colored glasses? We did the whole John Hughes thing, which was great. Took us back to our childhood and those great movies. So I like that one, especially for the lyrics and the theme of it.
Yeah.
Mundy didn't like it. I can tell by his smirk.
I have something really not nice to say about it, so I can either say it or not.
You got to say
Let's hear it.
We're here to balance each other out.
So, Tony, you and I can like step outside after this. I get it. It's fine. I might even let you have the first shot, but
okay.
This song really it hit me like kind of like a cheesy Christian rock kind of song. It's just the vibe I got from it. I'm like, right, I really don't like this song.
Well, I didn't have that, but I did have that it was kind of a radio 80s vibe to it for me, which tied in for me as far as being nostalgic. Even maybe a little Striper, No, it wasn't really like that for me. So, but see, here's the thing for me is like, if you give me good lyrics, the music can take a backseat. And so like when he says something like sorrow is a season, yeah. I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm the reverse of that. I gotta have the music hit me first.
Yeah. But I respect your opinion, Mundy.
I don't. That was rude.
No.
Just kidding. This is Mundy's Florida. No, that was Fiona. Never mind.
No, it's not that.
All right. The next one is One Life, another sentimental song. I was really digging this, and I just wished that it would have tracked away from being a love song and had a little bit more universality to the sentimentality of it. But I did like it. I felt like it was just too heavy on the love part of it.
Well, this is where what I just said about the last song, this is where it comes in, because I like this song, but I almost want to hear an instrumental of it, because I feel I was catching the music as we were going along, but his vocals kind of felt like they were way out front, maybe a little more than usual. I don't know, but maybe that's just because I was trying to hear the music more. So I did like the song, but I kind of want to hear an instrumental of it. That's just me.
Yeah. Well, the good thing with Dermot is he'll give you 7 different variations of these songs.
Yes.
In the next couple months. So yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I liked how it kind of just made you, think that there's too much to do and too much to love. And, I very simply put, as far as like, one life isn't going to be enough for all of this. So I dug it.
Yeah. Better Days. I really like this one. This is, I think, one of the stronger songs on the record. And to me, it almost seems like an answer to the last song. Or there were even lyrics that when he says, "We never miss the flowers till the sun's down. You never count the hours till they're running." I almost felt like they just fit better, or were like the appendix to One Life. This was just a far better song, I thought, than One Life.
That's actually, it's funny that you mentioned those lyrics, because when I was listening to it, I did like this song, but that would be my one criticism, was when I was listening to it, I was actually reading the lyrics, and I felt like that's almost a trope. It's like never this until this, never this until this, and he like hit it a couple of times in the song, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, this is why I almost text Steve. Your assistant sent me a thing saying, "I wish he would not do love songs all the time." That was really gripe with it. And I thought this was the one I felt like told a different story. In the way that I saw it was kind of like somebody that he knows that's battled cancer or has been in an abusive relationship or something, so it was definitely more of a step away from the love thing, but I can see that going back and forth with the previous song. So that's cool, because I haven't thought about it like that.
Yeah, I did like this one. It just, like I said, that when I caught that, and he hit it more than once in the song, I think, so it kind of pulled me out of it a little bit.
Yeah. The penultimate song is Already Gone, and I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. I didn't really have a lot to say. Well, I mean, it's not trash by any means. It's just I just wasn't feeling that one.
Yeah.
Well, well, then let me step in here as someone who, yes. Well, one thing I liked about it was, and my note was, I can't place why I like this song, but I do. So it wasn't like there was something that was like over the top grabbing me. But I think, again, looking at it as an album, it felt like there's a lot of things about being seen and him always seeing someone, that he's in love with, like how they've impacted him. And in this one, it feels like he's more invisible. So it kind of like stepped on the side. Somebody said Tony is on Dermot's payroll. I wish. I feel like that's Steve that says that.
I perhaps said that.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I do feel like it flipped it just a little bit, just to head out of the album in a different way.
Was this a stronger one for you on the record? I mean, for us to say we're not feeling it, is this one that you really felt strongly about, or?
No, this is maybe top 5, but probably in the middle.
Okay, so that really tracks then, because you're the Uber fanboy, and we're saying it's okay, not really, and then you're like it's okay. So,
yeah,
I think we're all on track. Last one, Blossom, I thought was a fitting closer. So talk about our opening and closers. I thought this was a really nice closer for the record. It had some really nice lyrics in it, and kind of pepped us out of there after the last one. So I dug this one quite a bit.
Yeah.
I did not love this song. I liked how it started, and it had a lot of promise. And then when he came in with like kind of pseudo rap type delivery, I really didn't enjoy that. And I am not a huge fan of his, and I did not know anything about his hip hop background or whatever. So I'm sure, that's in him, but I didn't like it coming out of him.
Just keep it
to
inside.
Yourself, buddy.
Yeah. Having known that and having heard him do actual covers of hip hop and rap songs, I've been accustomed to it a little bit. So, but I liked it. I thought that what I thought I was cool about it was there was like some honesty in terms of like how you actually do work as a team when you're, with someone that sometimes you need to just like rest and they need to help you through just for a little bit and then you'll be right back in it. So I think there were some trade-offs and in the lyrics about kind of being the person that would be there for them and to protect them and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like honestly saying, but I'm I'm gonna need a few things too here. So again, I liked it.
Yeah. That's odd,
isn't it? Yes.
Was that 10 for 10?
Yeah, I would say 9 for 10.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go around and do our final rating, but we are going to let you finish, T-Bags.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that I would probably give this a 2.75 out of 5 to a 3, somewhere in that range. And there are a couple of songs I will listen to again, but I will not listen to it from beginning to end, most likely. Mundy?
Okay. I was kind of around that same range. I was thinking more like 3 out of 5. It's really, I'm not a huge fan of Dermot Kennedy. He doesn't really kind of hit me in the same way that he obviously does Tony, and that's fine. But I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just kind of middle of the road for me. Not something I'm going to come back to a ton. It's real hit or miss for me. So yeah, 3 out of 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. T-Bags, give us your 5 out of 5.
Well, it's not a 5 out of 5, but it's close. And I think just as we all know, when you have an artist that you love or you have anything and you've kind of watched them grow and then also go through the pandemic and have them do some cool stuff and you just keep buying in more and more if they're, like you said, if they're hitting you, so I'm still, but I am close. I'd say 4.75 out of 5. I was anticipating and I wasn't disappointed. So it makes my rating higher.
That's all you can ask.
Yeah, exactly.
I will agree with you. During the pandemic, when he had that concert in the castle, that was primo. I mean, that was absolutely fantastic.
Great concept. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And he just keeps doing, I don't know how you guys are, but like beyond the music, if you like the artist, like he did a surprise concert from a balcony in Dublin recently. And he did a busking show, just kind of went back and just let it kind of grow over social media and seems, pretty engaged with his fans. So
yeah, I would definitely say as I've gotten older, that matters so much more to me, that the music that I love, the artists that create the music that I love, I should say, are decent people and do good things and put good into the world. Like that matters so much more to me now than it did when I was, a punk snot-nosed kid who didn't care about anything, whatever. But yeah, that's very cool to see that.
agreed.
Yep. He said was snot-nosed kid. Still. Oh man. So okay, well, that was great. I'm glad we got to do that. There is not anything releasing in the next week or two that we're just dying to do. So we're going to come up with something fun in the meantime, probably something retro to talk about. Before we moved on to Sandman, though, I just wanted to bring up the final 2 songs off of the first third of Autumn from Smashing Pumpkins, the rock opera. There hasn't been a new episode in a couple of weeks, so we haven't started the second portion of that yet, but he did release the final 2, which we hadn't talked about yet. The first one is called Hooray, and the last one is called The Gold Mask. And so I have some thoughts. God, this is painful. Hooray is quite possibly one of the worst songs I've ever heard. It starts off, it has got this awful bad, like a MIDI video game thing going on. It is so uncharacteristically bad. I can't even tell you. It's painful to me. And then the last song, The Gold Mask, is not bad. I think it's actually a pretty good closer to that portion of the story. And it picks up, it's a little peppier. It's got some of the quintessential pumpkin sound, but it's still too heavy on synth. And I have listened from beginning to end, and it hasn't helped. So I'm really in pain right now. We're
I'm
the third of
sorry.
the through, and I'm just the story's wonky, and I'm just not sure what to do with this record.
Yeah.
So
Well,
You talk about hit or miss. That's oof.
yeah.
well, sorry, because
I
we
have-
talk about our favorite artists. You know, you anticipate things. So
that going when we started talking about this, and Beguiled was the first song, and I was like, man, this is pretty good. Like that, that's a good song. And it was just like, I don't know the rest of this.
Yeah, well, so that came out. They did Beguiled, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. This is heavy. We got the guitars back. Everybody is rocking. And then they released the first song, which was Autumn, which is the lead-in, the instrumental. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. It's got some, atmosphere. It's gonna
The
decent.
intro.
And then Butterfly Suite came out. It's okay. We're starting to lean a little towards Sir here, but it's okay. And then Good and Goodbye came out, and I'm like, hey, this is a classic rocker. I'm digging this. And then, oh boy, we lost our groove quickly, and there was some, I don't know. I'm hoping it grows on me, but I'm not super positive. So
you're really selling me on going and listening to these.
no, you have to. Monday and I did.
will.
So you have to, but you're going to get the benefit now of listening in order. So you'll get to see it or feel it. I mean, we could even do that for the show if you wanted to, because I've already beat myself up. So we could do the first part of Autumn if we really want to.
I feel like that might be a little bit of a rehash.
It could be. So, but anyway, I still want T-Bags to listen.
I will at least listen and give a report back. So since you guys did, I will.
I mean, it's New Pumpkins. You gotta check it out.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Okay. Well, there you go, folks. So, T-Bags, are you going to stay around for Sandman 22, or are you going to head out?
I'm heading out because I promised the wife that I would watch Yellowstone so that we can actually read social media again. if you miss it for a night, you just can't pay attention to anything else.
Before you go, this just in. I know you're not going to be able to tell who it's from. I want you to guess.
Oh, man. I like Bob Dylan, so I will text her and give her a few.
That's T-Bag's challenge for next week. Name your favorite thing about Bob Dylan.
That should be my challenge.
That would be challenging for you.
Be a little more difficult for me.
Yeah. So
Actually, I can answer it right now.
Go for it.
His songwriting,
There we go. Boom.
not his performance.
Uh-oh, them's fighting words. She's probably going to yell at you now.
This is probably the best time for me to go.
It is a good time. T-Bags, we will see you next week
Okay.
for the next
Thanks,
show.
guys.
And you got to read 1 through 22 so you can be caught up and be ready for 23 next week.
All right. I'll call in sick tomorrow.
Good. Good.
All right.
You'll be glad you did.
See you guys.
Later, T-Bags.
See you. Bye.
All right. So we are ready for Sandman issue number 22. And when last we left, they had a big powwow, and Dream realizes he's been a bit of a dick lately. And okay, not lately, it was a long time ago. And he was a jerk to Nada. And so now he's going to have to go get her. That's where we left off.
Yeah, I mean, this issue is really all set up. It really just comes down to how much detail you want to get into. Because, I mean, it's basically starts off describing hell, and then we cut to Dream is gathering everyone he's gathering everyone in his realm to tell them he's leaving. He may or may not be coming back. If he does, then great. If he doesn't, things have been put in place to, figure that out. If he's captured there and not destroyed, things have been put in place for that. So, I mean, it's basically gather the troops. Hey, I might be back. I may not be back. If I die, this happens. If not, this happens. And off he goes.
All right. Good night.
And then,
No,
I mean, it's pretty much just that. And it's, then we turn to, like he said, it's established that he sent a messenger to hell ahead of him because that's how it's done. That is proper procedure and
correct.
etiquette. Send your messenger in to tell them you are coming to a visit. So.
Yep, and that was Kane, right?
Yeah, Kane. Anything you want to hit up to that?
That is essentially the entire issue. There were just some cool parts. For instance, when at the beginning, there's a huge, like the first page or whatever, or is it 2 pages? First page is a description of hell, but it is not, and it was intent that it's not our current interpretation of hell. Yeah. So it's not all flames and, the gnashing of teeth and all of that kind of thing. Hell is very different. It's a more Neil Gaiman take on what hell is, which, so that's a little different, which was cool. And then I thought the really neat part was the library.
Yeah.
And all of those books were of the stories that were not told by authors. They were their dreams. And so but they captured them, and now these stories are in books. I thought that was a really clever, that's definitely a Gaiman idea, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it's not even just authors, though. It's really everyone. These books contain everyone's dreams, but he specifically mentions authors like their best stories that they never wrote. They just dreamed.
Yeah, that's just such a clever idea. And there's a whole list of books on the top shelf, and there's stuff to read about them, but it's not technically, you don't have to know it to enjoy the issue. But just clever on his part. And one other part I thought was really cool was that as he's going around and telling all of these people what he's doing, he does go meet with Hob. I might not be there at our next meeting, which again shows the true friendship that we agree they had on the previous issue. But it's just neat that he revisits that he's definitely not just a throwaway character.
Right. And one thing, when Kane goes down into hell, that's an interesting conversation between him and Lucifer. They're both biblical characters, so you get a little bit of that. And he, Mazikeen basically wants to, oh crap, I forgot the other guy's name. It's Mazikeen, and who's the other one? Oh, I can't remember his name. But anyway, Alakino. That's it. Alakino and Mazikeen have brought Kane to Lucifer, and they want to destroy him.
Yes,
but they can't, because then Lucifer describes, reads the scripture about the mark of Cain, the mark on his forehead, and all of that. That was pretty cool. Pretty cool touch.
Yeah, and it, obviously why he sent him, which Dream knows as well. There's definitely going to be a battle of the wits with these two. And
then we see Hippolyta Hall and the baby that was born in the dreaming. So we've got some characters coming back. And Dream, before he goes down to hell, he stops in there, and she freaks out, tells him, get away from my child. And, you said you were going to take him, or don't touch him. And, he said he means him no harm. She hasn't named him yet. And as Dream is leaving, he said, by the by, his name is Daniel. And she looks real pissed and then kind of softens, and she's like, Daniel? So, she just kind of accepts that. Yeah. So, and that is a name that anyone following along should write down and remember, because that will come into play later.
Yep, it's Daniel from the Bible. And I love that he was going to name her after his father, Steve Trevor, which we got that DC connection that they like to sprinkle throughout here. This is very much a story in the DC universe.
Yeah, his father was Hector Hall. But Steve is tied in there somewhere. But,
well, it says I was going to call him Steve after my father, or Hector after Hector.
Yes.
Yeah. And then something else to like you think of Dream as this all-powerful person, but he even understands he is not as powerful as Lucifer. When he goes down there, he is definitely undermanned, so to speak.
Yeah, Matthew straight up asks him, Matthew the Raven, he said, he's more powerful than you. He said, oh, by far.
Yeah.
By far. So, yeah, he knows what's up.
Yeah. So that's really pretty much it. I mean, it definitely was set up, and then he is on his way. I haven't read ahead, so.
Yeah. So Lucifer kind of, addresses everyone in his kingdom or whatever and tells them that Dream is coming and why he's coming. That's pretty much it. Then we just kind of see, Dream tells Cain, rest my servant, you have done well. Cain had a rough go of it there, and then he just puts his helmet on and opens the portal to hell, and that's where the issue ends.
Yep. And then he's stepping through the portal to hell. So I cannot wait to read. I was going to read on, but I had a bunch of books from this week at the shop, and I don't know how you feel, but right now the books are kicking it, and there are so many good books coming up. I'm so excited about this spring with all the new books, especially the ones that DC just announced.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this, the new Golden Age and this Stargirl series with all the Golden Age sidekicks and what's going on there. It's great characters to just be on the shelf forever. I'm excited they're bringing some of them back and see what they're going to do with them.
Yeah, it looks like he's created a really cool mystery that she's going to have to solve with her friend. She's not supposed to be hanging out with. But I'm glad you told me that, because I went and got that, and that's a really good book. And then the Jeff Johns JSA series coming up should be fantastic, and that's got a nice mystery too. Somebody's killing off the Dr. Fates, and we'll find out who that is. So, but there's a bunch of other good ones too.
Yeah, I would actually like to give a shout out to. There are two Gotham centric titles. I'm Batman's my favorite. So there's one called Gotham City Year One, which is basically few generations before Bruce Wayne, and it kind of follows. It's almost kind of like it reminded me of the Lindbergh baby kidnapping and that kind of thing. And you get Slam Bradley, who's a detective character that's been around since. I think this is set in like 20s or 30s, but so that's cool to see him. That's been pretty good so far. And then there's another one. There was a book in the 90s called Gotham Central that was all about the Gotham City cops, when it was so good. That's where we first saw Renee Montoya, who has been a fixture ever since, and later turned into Question. And there's a book out now called GCPD, The Blue Wall, and it is Renee Montoya she is now commissioner, the Gotham City commissioner, because Jim Gordon is retired. So it's kind of following her and like her, rearranging, building her own legacy within the Gotham PD. Yeah. So pretty cool, really good.
Yeah. Yep, lots of cool stuff right now. So looks like Dark Crisis is winding down. My dogs are winding up. So I think that's a good siren for this show to end. The Colts are on in 10 minutes. So Mr. Mundy, if you would like, tell us all where we can find you.
Just find me on Instagram at Metalhead Mundy, right there.
Not Meathead Mundy, Metalhead Mundy. To get it right, people. And you can find me at Foggy's Pal on Instagram and Twitter. And you can find Wanderings and Wool Gathering on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Stitcher, Castbox, and SoundCloud. So next week we will return with episode 133, some barking chihuahuas, and a challenge or two, and some new music. Until then, we will have to part ways. We'll see you now.